So autism in kids. In this video, I'm going to be discussing some of the most common signs and 5 of the top ones that you should look out for if you're trying to identify autism in toddlers and children. All that coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan. I have autism, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia, and I make weekly videos on this type of content. So if you're new around here and you just stumbled across this video, if you want to learn more, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're watching over on Facebook, be sure to give this page a like and a follow to see more videos just like this one. Woo! What's going on, everybody? I am pumped to get this video going. I decided that I would do a video early this week. So this is a Monday release, which I don't normally do Monday releases, but I've been having loads of fun. Like when I think of something, I'm like, oh, I'd love to make a video on that. Pretty recently, I was reading through some stuff and looking at some studies about children on the spectrum, especially young kids, like toddlers and stuff like that, and younger children. And some of the things that I read were really interesting and I've never seen anywhere before. So I decided that I would make a video about some of the interesting kind of like common signs that I don't really hear people talking about that often, but they're super common. So, you know, if you stick around to the end of the video, you're going to be able to really see all of those really interesting ones. And there's some of them in there just like super fascinating. I think they're amazing. As always, guys, if you're new around here and you'd like to follow me on my other social medias, don't forget to give me a follow on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok, because I make videos on all of those platforms because you know, I just love putting out content. So if you don't want to miss out on anything, I highly recommend go and follow me on there now. And also you can reach out to me on the DMs and tweet me or comment, because I love commenting back and talking to everybody. So if you have anything you'd like to tell me right now, pop in a comment down below. I would love to talk to you. Hit me in a comment down below. I read and respond to every single one. And if you, like many other people, want to get your hands on one of these autism alert cards, these are specifically on the Aspie world. You guys can check it out in the link down below. These are really cool. These are on my desk because I'm ready to send these out, but I just thought, like, each one of these is packed by me. So yeah, these literally are packed here. Yeah, we obviously sanitize everything, and I put gloves and a mask on, and then we post them out. But yeah, love it. Oh, what am I wearing? I'm glad you asked. This is today's sponsor for this video. Thank you so much for Soundsary for sponsoring this video. Now here's a little bit about Soundsary. Soundsary programs help children and adults on the autism spectrum with sensory processing disorder and special educational needs. A company that's recommended by therapists and professionals globally, Soundsary is a multi-sensory music movement program. The Soundsary headphones are equipped with dynamic filters and bone conduction technology that helps improve motor skills and cognitive development in children and adults. So kind of like you put these on and then you like go through the list of programs and you take their like actual like so many days or so many weeks program, which you do every day, and then it tells you to do different stretches while listening to different music. I've tried this thing for like you know, however long I did it. I think I did it for like a week, and it was absolutely amazing. This thing actually really was fascinating, which is why I wanted to work with them again. I did a video with them before, but I wanted to do another one, and these guys kindly sponsored this video and I love it. So the Soundsary works on the fine, gross and visual motor skills in children, leading to enhancements in handwriting and drawing, balance and posture, and eye-hand coordination, and sport-like skills. Now, Soundsary is designed to be safe and effective and is helping children on the autism spectrum with auditory sensory processing disorder and other developmental delays. Now, if you guys want to get your hands on one of these units, I will leave a link down below with a code, so you can actually get 10% off with the link if you want to purchase this from me down below. So I just want to talk about the program. So the program consists of a specially designed music processed with neuroacoustic modifications, as well as a series of movement-based exercises. It's a 40-day program divided into 2 sections of 20 days each, with a break of 1 month in between. Each day consists of 30 minutes of music and exercise. Soundsary helps improve fine gross motor skills in children and things like handwriting and balance and posture and hand-eye coordination, which is super, super awesome. You get 9 hours of battery time in these headphones when they're fully charged, and you also get access to the online exercise videos with an option to switch to Bluetooth mode and as a regular headset. You know, you can use these things as your daily kind of listeners, which is pretty cool because they're just super snazzy, super cool, and so you can actually use them as your Bluetooth headset for your phone, and you can also discreetly do your program. So that's super awesome. Please check them out. Like I said, link in the description below. You get 10% off with this, and I highly recommend it. Okay guys, so autism in kids. Now, there's this thing where a lot of people say, like, you know, what is a prime age to diagnose somebody with autism, and when's you know, a good time to diagnose someone with autism? How would you know? When do the traits become kind of more visual? When are they more on your face? Blah blah blah. And the answer is very, very simple. Typically, between the ages of 3 and 5 years old is typically when people are diagnosed with autism. You can be diagnosed earlier than that, but a little thing about diagnosing children earlier than that is that some of the behavioural characteristics could just be accredited to behavioural development and learning techniques by the kids. So, you know, there could be a random occurrence that looks like something autism related, but actually, in actual fact, it's just like how the kid is developing. So I decided that I would put down like some of the most interesting ones. I find these really interesting, and these ones are definitely the most common for people on the spectrum. And if you are a regular to my videos and you want to support me in some way and give back to me, please check me out on Patreon. There'll be a link at the bottom here somewhere. I have a bunch of courses you can look at on Patreon as well, if you become a member of that level or whatever. But if you want to just support this channel, I'd be forever in your gratitude for that. That would be just amazing. So thank you so much, and let's get on with the video. Okay guys, so number one, this is non-response to name. I hear this a lot from parents who are you know, they've had their kid diagnosed with autism, and they basically said, oh, you know, for years we were wondering what was going on, and we'd be like, hey James, calling their kid, say the kid's name is James, and then James wouldn't respond. So they'd go to the doctor and be like, hey doctor, James isn't responding to us calling his name, and what's going on? And the doctor's like, oh, I tell you what it is, he may be partially deaf. So they do this, they do like deaf testing and all this stuff, and the kid isn't deaf or partially deaf, and then they say, oh, he's got glue, which is kind of like a condition where you can have like stuff blocking your ears so that it may be difficult to kind of interact and hear stuff from around you, especially in your environment. But once the glue goes, they say, oh, well, I don't know, you know, maybe he's deaf again. You think, well, we're going around in circles here. Is he deaf? Is it glue? Is he hard of hearing? No. Simply that it's autism. What he's doing is hyper-focusing on an object, an item, and then just kind of like zoning out of everything that's around him. So this is a really good common characteristic. And, you know, it's very interesting that a lot of parents say that, you know, oh yeah, my child is autistic. When he was younger or she was younger, they thought they were deaf, but it turns out that they're not deaf, actually on the autism spectrum, which I find absolutely fascinating, because it's just like, what on earth? Like, how could how could they miss this? How could the medical establishment miss this? But I suppose it's just having to try everything to make sure that there's nothing physically disabling that they have to kind of attend to first. Okay, so number two is speech delay. Now, typically children develop speech between the ages anywhere really from like 2 to fully fledged 4 to 5 year old, where they're stringing sentences together, and there's not typically a delay there in speech, as in like the average kid will learn to speak probably by like 5 years old. They're putting together really big sentences and they're able to talk. In autism, there will be a huge delay in speech, and they will eventually catch up. It's not like speech delay is something that it happens all the way. Sometimes it does, you know. Sometimes autistic people are non-verbal and they never, you know, create a speech pattern, or maybe they started speaking and then all of a sudden they lost that ability as they grew because of other things. You know, it's a complex, vast spectrum with amazing amounts of different types of data going on. So if I'm just focusing on one thing here, if we're looking at speech delay, this could be a thing as well. So if your child is having speech delay, or the child in question right now has speech delay, that speech delay could be accredited to an autism spectrum disorder, because it's very common in autism. Okay, so number three, which is really interesting, this one is solitary play. Now, solitary play is when a child actually plays on their own and kind of can't really join in with the other groups of kids, especially in group activities at playtimes and break times and you know, recess and recreational times, and they find it difficult to join in with the other kids. And also, when a child is in solitary play, especially an autistic child, when an autistic child is in solitary play, they have an issue with inviting other kids into that solitary play, because it has almost like a routine to it, and it's difficult for them to interact with the other kids to get them into that play. And so what happens is the autistic kid ends up just playing on their own in solitary, and that's it. Now, this is a very, very common you know, characteristic. I actually had this when I was in school, because I couldn't go outside and play with all the other kids because I had a big issue trying to relate to the children. There was an agreed partnership between our parents and the school that I was allowed to stay indoors and play on their computers. I know they were like terrible 1990s like rubbish computers that didn't do anything, but you know, I was allowed to stay indoors and play at break times, which was really nice. And I was allowed to not go to the swimming sports centre when they did their like outings to sports centre, because that was just too much for me. So it was really interesting that this came up when I was writing this video out, because I figured like that's a really interesting concept, you know, and it's something that people really need to think about. And it was definitely something that impacted me, because it's difficult to relate to other children when you feel very different from all the other kids. So this is a very, very interesting one. Social play, very interesting and very common. Okay, so number 4 is hand flapping and like spinning around. Now, everyone knows that like autistic kids have a tendency to flap their hands, right? And this hand flapping is something that happens when they may be excited, when they may be nervous or worried about something. And it's stimming, which is short for self-stimulatory behaviour. And this happens as a way of almost creating a repetitive movement in the body to help calm or pleasure the body to a normalization, so they don't feel anxiety over stress or worry or excitement, because excitement and anxiety have the same feeling and the same chemicals in the body, so it will have the same reaction when somebody is doing that. So looking out for a kid who's like flapping their hands a lot, or like spinning around, just spinning around and spinning around, you know, just spinning around just for no reason, or walking around in circles, because these again are repetitive patterns that are very, very common in autistic kids, and I find just absolutely fascinating. Okay, so number 5, which is one of the most intriguing things that I've ever come across, and it's just mind-blowing, and this will top the cake. Like if you see this in a kid, I mean, this is a huge giveaway that the child is on the spectrum, right? Now, eye gazing or tracking from the side of their eye. So I'm going to do an example now. So it's kind of like if you track with the side of your eye and look at stuff, like if you're following a wall as you're walking, or you get something that has like a straight edge and you like just track the side of it with the side of your eye. This is something that autistic kids do a lot. It's almost like stimming. It's very similar to stimming, and it probably has the same kind of pleasurable feeling as stimming, but in terms of like doing it, autistic kids do it, and it's quite noticeable because their eyes will go to the corner of their eye and they'll kind of like track stuff. They'll be tracking, like, you know, it could be window blinds, it could be a wall, it could be the side of the window, side of a cabinet. This is very, very common. Now, if you are relating to all this, it'd be really interesting if you could share this video on Facebook and Twitter to help other people understand, because I think that sharing is caring, and that would be super awesome. And if you're new around here, like I said, hit the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one, guys.